I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to overcome the fear of making the wrong decision. To overcome the fear of making the wrong decision, because at the end of the day, we have to move through our life. We can't be moving through life in this fear-based way where we're not giving ourselves permission to step into the life that we want to create. We can't be living life from that perspective, because that perspective is still a perspective that is still making you take actions that are based on that perspective. So in this video, if you are scared to make the wrong choice in your life, or if you're scared to make the wrong choices in terms of how you want to move forward, in this video, we're going to completely overcome that fear, and we're going to give you a practical solution to overcome this fear and allow you to really step back into your power of understanding who you really are as a creator, to step into what it is that you truly want to create. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell, because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. So let's talk about this. Well, the first thing you need to understand is that not making a choice that's based on fear is still making a choice. And the choice that you're making is not making a choice that's based on fear. So consider that for a second. If you decide, I'm not going to make a choice, it's too scary to make a choice right now, it's too scary for me to go in this direction, you see, that's still a choice. And that choice that you're making is a choice that's grounded in what? It's grounded in thoughts about things that haven't happened yet, that probably make logical sense, but are they necessarily true at the core? That's another conversation for another time. I would say most of the times, absolutely not. Most of the times, the fears that people have are not the truth, and they are simply a projection of what they believe to be the truth. And then so what happens is that now they make a choice to not make a choice that's based on what? It's based on fear. It's what you call a fear-based decision. That's all it is. When you're making a choice that's not based on fearlessness, you're making a choice that's based on fear, which I don't want to say is the opposite of that, but in some ways you could view it as such. So understand that before we go any deeper in this video in terms of how to overcome this, the very first thing you need to understand is that when you're not making a choice, you're still making a choice to not make a choice, and that not making a choice is you making a choice that's based on fear. So I'm not going to repeat myself there too much. Just understand that. Understand that that is actually the case, that you're still making a choice there. So what's the solution here? Well, the solution is to just make a choice and own it 100%. You see, one of the things that's important to consider is not necessarily, am I making the right choice? The question to ask yourself is, where am I coming from with this choice? That's a better question to ask. See, instead of thinking about what choice am I making, what choice makes the best logical sense, what choice should I make right now, ask yourself, what is the place that I'm coming from when I make this choice? So that's when you start to understand metaphysically what's going on here, because that's a practical way of communicating. Are you making a choice that's based on fear, or are you making a choice that's based on fearlessness? You want to ask yourself, instead of asking myself, God, I'm so scared to make the right choice. What choice do I make? I'm so scared to go in this direction. At the end of the day, in some ways, depending on the perspective that you want to hold, in some ways, this is just one perspective, keep that in mind. And from one perspective, it doesn't necessarily matter what choice you make in life. That's just my belief system. That's just one way to look at it. In some ways, it doesn't necessarily matter what choice you make. What really matters is, what place are you coming from when you make the choice? Are you coming from fearlessness? Or are you coming from a higher vibrational state of consciousness? Are you coming from love and light and awareness? And then any fears that come up to the surface, you simply transmute those fears into the light, and then you decide, hey, I'm gonna make a choice here anyways. I don't care what my mind says. I don't care what my mind is bringing up to the surface. I'm gonna simply ignore that. Not in the sense that you're afraid of it. You're not afraid of the fear. You're not afraid to be afraid, but you're so not afraid to be afraid that you say, wait a second, screw these thoughts. I'm just gonna make a choice anyways. And when you get to that space, you get to a space where you're making the choices, but you're not necessarily forcing the choices, and you just feel pulled and called to go in a certain direction. You might not know logically why you have to go in that direction. It might not make logical sense in terms of why you have to go in that direction. Nonetheless, though, you're just going to go in that direction. You don't even know why. But the more that you can tap into that space of consciousness, understanding that actually you don't need to always have it all figured out. You don't need to know if you're making the right choice. You need to know what choice are you making in terms of what's the energetic frequency that you're coming from when you make the choice. See, if you make a choice when you're at a very low vibration, which means that your thoughts are usually completely consuming you, your thoughts have completely taken over your attention, what's actually happening there is that there's still a choice being made, and of course the choice is being made on fear, like we talked about a second ago here, or probably a couple minutes ago at this point. Time speeding up, but let me know in the comments down below how that's been for you. That's a whole separate video that I gotta re-record soon though. But we need to start to realize that, start to be aware, what vibrational frequency am I coming from when I make a choice in my life? You see, you want to start to be aware, what's your vibrational frequency when you're making a choice? This is the most important thing. The most important thing is what vibrational frequency are you actually coming from? Because making the wrong decision is not something you should be worried about. You should be more worried about what energy am I in when I make this decision. See, most people go after dreams and go after goals that are based on something that was given to them by society. You see, society gives them some idea of what's good for them and the life that they should live and the life that seemingly sounds good in their minds. But of course, a lot of the times what we imagine in our minds can be a good starting point when it comes to living the life that we want, but it's not always the case where it's the life that completely feels in alignment to us. Now, don't twist this. If you have fun imagining and you have fun visualizing, that feels like something that resonates with you, then by all means do that. But understand that you want to be manifesting from a place of being in the energy state that you feel like you're connected to who you really are. Not an energy state that's based on some conditioning of who you think you are and the people that have given you your goals, because you should want these goals because these are the right goals to have in life, right? Oh, if you don't have these goals, well then you're a bad person. You should feel guilty for wanting what you really want because you should want what I want. Don't be selfish. Want what I want because you should want what I want, not what you want, because you're being selfish. That's how society usually talks. You see, they say, don't be so selfish. Focus on what I should want for you because you're being really selfish, right? How crazy is that? That's society. Society says, don't be a selfish person, but yet you should focus on what I want for you. That's a little bit selfish if you think about it. That's a little bit selfish. To say that you shouldn't be selfish, don't be so selfish to focus on your dreams, right? Somebody in your family might say, don't be so selfish to focus on your dreams. Some of your friends might say, don't be so selfish to focus on your dreams. But yet, they're also going to be the same person that's saying, you should be focusing on what I want for you so that I can feel good, so that you can give me what I want to feel good, because I don't know how to feel good within myself and how to generate energy within my own consciousness. So you should be doing what I want and what I think is good for you so that ultimately I can feel good in my body because you're giving me what I want and I'm being selfish. Now, of course, I didn't really know that I was going to bring it that easily and just tell you the answer, but ultimately what's happening there, they're actually the ones being selfish. And that sounds like really selfish and egotistical for me to say, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I don't turn inwards. Of course I turn inwards. I'm always willing to be like, wait a second, where am I being selfish here? Where am I going wrong here? But a lot of empaths don't realize that they are actually making decisions for somebody else. So I don't even know why I decided to go into that flow state in terms of that topic in this video. But what I will say though is that you want to start making choices for yourself and understand that the choice that you're making should be coming from a vibrational frequency that's higher than the one that people think you should be in because they think that's the best frequency to be in. So what does this mean? This means stop focusing logically on what choice you want to be making. You want to be focusing on what energy am I coming from, okay? And so you don't have to do anything. You don't have to take my advice here. You don't have to listen to what I'm saying in these videos, but this is just how I personally live my life. I personally like to be living my life in a way where am I making a choice that's based on the right frequency? Am I making the choice that's based on my heart and what it is that I really want to be doing, okay? So let's talk about the next thing here. Well, the third thing I want to share with you is no matter what choice you make, you're always going to have some sort of consequences. See, for example, when I was dropping out of school 2 years ago at this point, I realized that there's consequences to either choice. Whether I wanted to make a choice that's based on fear and stay in school, which would be a fear-based decision, because if I stayed in school out of fear, let me show you what that looks like. That looks like I don't take action on my dreams. This is just what it would look like. It would look like me not taking action on my dreams and what I really wanted to create, to start my coaching business, to start this YouTube channel, to start serving the world in the way that I wanted to serve the world, to start making money on my terms, how I wanted to make it, to start living the life that I really wanted. That would have happened. What would have happened was I would have stayed in school because I was scared of what would have happened if I dropped out of school. So it's like, ooh, I'm not gonna drop out of school because I'm scared of what's potentially going to happen if I stay in school. I mean, if I leave school, that was the fear, right? And so it's like, oh, how am I gonna make money? I had all sorts of thoughts come up, like, how am I gonna make money? How am I gonna be able to create this life that I really want? All these different fears started to come up to the surface, right? And so what I realized was that no matter what path I really take, at the end of the day, there's going to be consequences to either path. You could choose love and light and fearlessness, and you can also choose fear. And nobody's gonna judge you but yourself. Nobody's gonna judge you but yourself. And if people judge you, well, then they're actually judging themselves too. And then you guys, your vibrational frequencies are actually intermingling because it's just judgment upon judgment. We're all judging ourselves together. So we can all suffer together because that's how life should be, right? No, that's not how life should be. That's a societal conditioning that has taken over our consciousness and who we truly are and has convinced us that we are something that we're not. So what you want to start to do is understand that no matter what choice you make in life, there's going to be consequences. The question is, what consequences are you truly okay with? See, for me, the consequences of staying in school were way worse. Living in fear, to me, living my life of regret, getting to my deathbed and being like, and having this sort of, I'm not saying this to put you into fear, but like to potentially be on the timeline of feeling like I'm going to be living a life of regret and not taking action in this life in terms of what I wanted to create. That possibility for me was way worse than any potential possibilities that could possibly arise from me dropping out of school and taking the risk to start my YouTube channel, to start my successful coaching business, where obviously it's successful now, but that wasn't the case when I was starting the business, right? There was a lot of risk involved there. But you got to realize that when I got to that point, when I was getting to that point, I had to start to realize, well, wait a second, any potential consequences of me going after what I want to create, I'll take that over staying in school. See, the consequences of dropping out of school were like, okay, people are gonna start to think that my mom's probably gonna freak out, right? Like my family was freaking out. My mom was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? Is he gonna be able to do this? And even my mom thought sometimes that I was like going pretty crazy because I was like focusing on meditations and stuff and like meditating. That's obviously when I still lived with her and stuff like that. But we need to start to realize that there's going to be consequences in either direction, right? So there was a lot of consequences, like dropping out of school, family's gonna freak out, not gonna know how to make money, not gonna know what next action steps to take every step of the way, probably gonna have to invest in some sort of a coach or a mentor. I knew that I was called to do that, not that you have to do that, but I knew that I was gonna have to take some financial leaps of faith as well and start to invest in myself if I wanted to coach people as well, which is exactly what I did. And so of course, all of those things to me were like, okay, honestly, I'm okay with that. Now, of course, this is a logical way to look at it, but what am I really doing here? I'm logically communicating to you in a very sort of consumable way that you need to be more goddamn fearless in your life. I'm sorry to be so vulgar, just be more fucking fearless in your life. That's what I'm communicating there. All I'm really communicating at the end of the day here when I talk about consequences in either direction is like, just understand that no matter what happens, there's gonna be consequences. And it's just like, do you wanna choose being fearless or do you wanna choose living in fear? And at the end of the day though, when you watch a video like this, understand that it is really a choice on some level. From some levels, I could say that it's not really a choice when you're in fear, because there's so much societal conditioning that has took it. It's almost like a deep, dark intelligence in some ways that possesses us and takes us over in some weird, scary ways. But I do believe, and of course I haven't fully realized this yet, but I'm sure that I'm getting closer to, that at some higher level, I'm sure this can be realized, not just as a belief, that actually we chose that. We are choosing to live in fear until we realize that, wait a second, I don't have to choose this anymore. I can start to be in a vibrational frequency that I really want to be in. So understand that no matter what choice you make, there's always going to be consequences. The question you want to ask yourself is, what choices and what consequences am I more okay with? I was more okay with dropping out of school and taking all these financial risks than working a 9-to-5 job and working at a software company that was going to drain my energy, leaving me like 3 hours in the day to work on my passions and work on what I really wanted to do. The risk was well worth it to me. And so here we are. I financially created in my life what I wanted. I'm not saying that I've manifested everything, but everything I want just always manifests. It just always manifests. Everything that I want manifests. So when I take those risks, usually things just work out because I maintain that fearless frequency. And if you can learn how to manage your energy in the right way, there's pretty much no chance most of the times that you're not going to manifest what you want. Obviously, that's not guaranteed because life is uncertain. But if you can manage your energy in the right way, you're going to be able to create most of the times what you want. And so for me, the risk was well worth it. And I'll tell you this, it paid off. And of course, don't get me wrong, I'm not comfortable right now. I am, but there's always a next level where it's like, okay, I have to be fearless again and again and again and again and again and again. You always want to be making those fearless decisions that are in alignment with source, that excite you a little bit, but also put you a little bit into fear, and then you transmute it into light. But we'll talk about that in another video. So just to close off, understand that there's always consequences. There's always consequences to what choices you make, and you always want to be conscious of this. So what did we cover here in this video? We covered number one, not making a choice based on fear is still you making a choice to not make a choice that's based on fear. Number two, make a choice and just own it fully. Own fully whatever choice you want to make in life. Fully step into that. Fully own the choice. Fully choose to make it, because at the end of the day, it's not really what choice you're making, it's the energy that you're coming from and the energetic frequency that you're making that choice from. Number three, understand that no matter what choices you make, there's always going to be consequences, whether you live in fear, whether you live in love. Nobody's going to be judging you except yourself. And of course, if somebody's judging you, they're also judging themselves. And at the end of the day, what are we doing? We're judging ourselves. So there's no consequences. There's always consequences no matter what choice we make. So understand that you can just make a choice and weigh out the consequences. Don't be too logical about it. Try to be in the right frequency, but even be a little bit logical too. What is it that is going to be worse for you if you make what choice? For me, it was worse to, of course, stay in school. So I made the choice to drop out and go after my quote unquote dreams and what I wanted to create instead. Okay, so that's all I have for this video. Sincerely hope that this video gave you some value. Leave a comment down below if it did and what your thoughts are. Make sure to hit that like button so that more people can get access to these videos, because I believe every single person has the right to understand who they truly are as a creator to live the life that they want. And of course, hitting the like button can help the algorithm so that more people can get access to this information. That's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. Because what I do is I help people let go of their ego and align with the vision that their heart wants to create. As always, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.